Well, thank you, Chairman Wicker, Ranking Member Reed, for holding this hearing, and I want to thank Congressman Williams for meeting with me last week. Thank you. I'm going to direct my questions to you, Congressman. The Nevada test site, now known as the Nevada National Security Site, NNSS, but we really still call it the test site in Nevada, so I'll defer to that. Well, it is larger than all NNSA sites combined, and to the ranking member, our sites, it's equivalent to the size of the state of Rhode Island. So, but
High tide or low tide?
we'll strike that from the record. There you go. Anyway, the Nevada test sites played a critical role in nuclear weapons development. It was ground zero for the majority of the United States explosive nuclear testing from 1951 to 1992, when 100 atmospheric and 828 underground tests were conducted. During this era, which we must not ever return to, millions of people and acres of land were contaminated by radiation. Since President George H.W. Bush signed the moratorium in 1992, the NNSA has utilized the Stockpile Stewardship Program in Nevada's underground laboratory to conduct subcritical experiments to certify the reliability, safety, and effectiveness of our nuclear stockpile. What we're doing in Nevada is working. For decades, the directors of the national laboratories, the commanders of U.S. Strategic Command, the secretaries of Defense and Energy, including through the entirety of the first Trump administration, have annually certified the military effectiveness of our stockpile. Nonetheless, some in President Trump's orbit have suggested that the U.S. should resume explosive nuclear testing. Can you imagine that? Despite no evidence supporting this position. And if it is above ground explosive testing, the amount of exposure and destruction would be felt worldwide. So in addition to placing Nevadans at risk, experts warn that breaking the moratorium would likely prompt Russia and China to follow, as they have more to gain from testing than we do, given our superior scientific and computer modeling capabilities. This could ignite a dangerous, deadly, and costly nuclear arms race for no reason. So, Congressman Williams, if President Trump were to ask your advice about returning to explosive nuclear tests, how would you counsel him on the national security implications, and what would you recommend?
Senator Rosen, thank you for that question. Thanks very much for hosting me and that conversation. It was very insightful and very much appreciated that. As you pointed out, we have 928 tests, nuclear tests that we performed, more than any other nation, and we collected more data than anyone else. And it is precisely that data that has underpinned our scientific basis for confirming the stockpile since the moratorium in 1992. The decision whether to continue testing, critical testing, supercritical testing, would certainly be above my pay grade should I be confirmed as the administrator.
Would you recommend explosive nuclear testing in place of our subcritical testing that we do at the U-1A tunnel effectively in all of these years?
And sorry, to get to my answer is I would not advise testing, and I think we should rely on the scientific information.
Thank you. I'm going to stay on this because resuming explosive testing at the Nevada National Security Site would risk severe economic and environmental impacts, not just in Nevada, but primarily in Nevada, placing more than 2 million people at risk who live in Las Vegas, and not to mention the downwinders states going east. We know that at least 32 accidental venting accidents occurred during the last period of underground testing. That's why there's strong statewide bipartisan opposition to testing, including from our Republican governor. So again, Congressman Williams, how would the risks of radiological release and groundwater contamination posed by underground nuclear testing, along with the risk to Las Vegas economy, feature in your advice to the President if he were even to indicate interest in resuming even below ground or any type of explosive nuclear testing?
Senator, thank you for the question. My primary concern would be for our deterrence, that we're deterring our enemies. The environmental impact, of course, would be very important and impactful to the citizens of Nevada. And I think before those kinds of activities were to take place, particularly so close to a populated area like Nevada, those would be very important considerations.
Thank you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Yield back.
Thank you very much. Senator Kelly.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Hansel, as